Continuing from the previous chapter, Xiao Yan had guessed that the ancient emperor's cave dwelling was hidden beneath the lava world under Jia Nan Academy. He prepared to lead dozens of Doshang powerhouses back to his alma mater. On a mountain path on the outskirts of the Black Corner region, dozens of figures dressed in black robes silently advanced. Moments later, their steps halted outside a mountain gate at the end of the path. Who goes there? This is the mountain gate of the Demon Blade sect. All unauthorized personnel, leave at once. As this peculiar group paused before the gate, the 10 or so gatekeepers immediately raised their large ghost-head blades, their eyes flashing with menace as they shouted harshly. Beyond this gate lies the Black Corner region, correct? The leader of the black-robed group spoke in an aged, indifferent voice. If you know this is the Black Corner region, why aren't you leaving? Not just anyone can pass through here. A burly man, seemingly a minor leader at the gate, snorted coldly. It seems we're in the right place. Hearing this, the leader couldn't help but smile. Slowly lifting his head, a face devoid of emotion appeared from under the black robe. His hand, as bony as a skeleton's, slipped out from his sleeve. In a flat voice, he commanded, "Kill them all. Leave no one alive."
Yes.
Upon hearing his command, the dozens of figures behind him responded in low voices. The moment the elder spoke, the guards at the gate became alert. A warning whistle was quickly blown. "How dare you cause trouble at the Demon Blade sect? You are seeking." Before the man could finish his shout, a black shadow abruptly enlarged in his pupils. The next moment, his body exploded into a mist of blood, and even the gate behind him was blasted into dust. Enemy attack. The sudden explosion echoed through the mountain peak. Instantly, the sound of rushing wind filled the air as hundreds of figures surged out from within the gate, their large blades gleaming coldly in the sunlight. To dare create chaos at the Demon Blade sect, you must have some skill. From among the crowd, a figure wielding a large blade walked out slowly. However, just as his powerful aura, strong enough to rival a Do Huang, began to emanate, the leading black-robed figure appeared before him like a ghost. With a gentle wave of his sleeve, this somewhat renowned Do Huang in the Black Corner region exploded into a mist of blood under the astonished gazes of the crowd. Kill them all. Additionally, send a message to the other teams to act. Within a day, I want the Black Corner region to belong to us alone. With a single sleeve flick, the black-robed leader's voice was indifferent as he blew apart the Demon Blade sect's chief. Understood. Hearing his words, the dozens of black shadows responded once again. In the next moment, surging doqi erupted, and black chains sliced through the sky. The massacre began silently. Today was a day of celebration at Jia Nan Academy, marking the entrance of new students and the promotion of senior students into the inner academy. For this occasion, the academy held a ceremony, filling the entire campus with a joyful atmosphere. In the ceremonial plaza, a sea of people gathered, their voices merging into a powerful roar that reached the sky. In the center of the plaza, several sizable stages had been set up. At this moment, doqi erupted on these stages as figures clashed in fierce battles. Occasionally, the victor stood proudly, attracting admiring glances from many young women, their eyes shimmering with admiration. The entire academy was filled with the unique vitality of youth. In the center of several stages stood two giant statues. One appeared old, while the other looked young and delicate, seeming to be of a similar age to the students. This sight caused some of the newly arrived freshmen to be curious. "Senior sister, one of those statues is the legendary Dean. But who is the other? They don't seem very old," a group of lively young girls asked, surrounding a tall female student. "That is the most outstanding person in Jia Nan Academy. Do you know about Pan's Gate and the Xiao sect? They were established by this senior. You are able to pass through the Black Corner region so smoothly now thanks to the Xiao sect's reputation. In the past, many freshmen lost their lives there every year due to its dangers. You've seen how vicious it can be," the tall girl explained, her eyes glancing with admiration at the giant statue. "He sounds amazing. Where is this senior now?" one of the girls asked with a playful smile. "He left Jia Nan Academy long ago. I heard from an elder that he went to the Central Plains, a place filled with powerful beings. So, don't get your hopes up? The tall girl smiled. On a high platform, Su Qian looked at the lively scene in the plaza, a small smile forming on his aged face. He then looked up at the two statues in the plaza, shaking his head. It had been decades since he had seen these two. I wonder how that kid Xiao Yan is doing now. With his talent and abilities, his current achievements must be significant, Su Qian murmured to himself. Over the years, Jia Nan Academy had admitted many exceptionally talented individuals, but none could compare to the boy from back then. Elder Su Qian, a voice suddenly called from behind him, making him turn around with a smile. Behind Su Qian stood three figures, two women and a man. One of the women was dressed in an instructor's uniform, which, despite its formal and somewhat loose appearance, couldn't hide her graceful figure. Her rare, long, and slender legs drew many admiring glances. The other woman was dressed in a red dress, a whip coiled around her slender waist, and she had a lively yet fierce demeanor that made the students wary. Everyone knew about Hu Jia, the demon instructor, whose notoriety made life difficult for those she targeted. The man beside them had a calm expression, carrying a large heavy sword on his back. His presence was suffocating, even when he just stood there. These three were among the most outstanding individuals in Jia Nan Academy today. If Xiao Yan were here, he would recognize these familiar faces. They were Xiao Yu, Hu Jia, and Wu Hao. Now, they were the backbone of Jia Nan Academy. Xiao Yu had reached the level of Dozong 2 years ago, while Hu Jia and Wu Hao were at the peak of Dozong, close to reaching Dozun. Still thinking about that guy? It's been so many years. I wonder if he's caught up with Sun Er yet, Hu Jia said as she sat beside Su Qian, glancing at Xiao Yan's statue with a pout. Don't worry, his achievements surpass ours, Wu Hao said with a nostalgic smile, reminiscing about the days when the four of them fought for fire energy together. I'll reach Dozun this year, Hu Jia retorted. He dared to challenge a Dozun more than 10 years ago, Xiao Yu said with a smile, her beautiful eyes filled with complex emotions as she looked at the statue. You all keep praising him, but he can't even hear you, Hu Jia said, a bit sulkily. Even now, you're still the same as back then, Su Qian chuckled, looking at the gradually filling seats of the instructors and elders around him before slowly standing up. As he stood, the previously noisy plaza quieted down significantly. All eyes turned to him. Now, Su Qian was undoubtedly the leader of Jia Nan Academy. As for Meng Tianqi, he was so neglectful of his duties that even some instructors had almost forgotten his name. Standing up, Su Qian looked at the young, even tender, faces in the crowd and couldn't help but smile kindly. However, just as he was about to speak, his brow suddenly furrowed. His gaze swept past the sea of people to the distant horizon, where the sound of fierce wind carried a sense of bloodlust and killing intent. Wu Hao. Years of leading the academy had made Su Qian as steady as a mountain. He remained calm as he spoke. Law enforcement team, all elders, be on guard. Wu Hao immediately stood up, his figure slowly rising into the air as he commanded in a deep voice. At his shout, the sound of rushing wind echoed from the seats and within the academy. Numerous figures swiftly appeared around the plaza, their eyes alertly watching the sky. The sudden turn of events surprised the students, but the instructors quickly calmed them down, preventing any panic. As everyone stood on guard, the sound of the wind grew louder. Moments later, a large group of black shadows emerged from the horizon, appearing in the sky above the academy with a few flickers. Today is a day of celebration for Jia Nan Academy. We are not in a position to receive guests. We hope you understand, Su Qian said, frowning as he looked at the black shadows in the sky. The heavy scent of blood emanating from them made his heart sink. These were not friendly visitors. Celebration? The leader of the group couldn't help but smile slightly at Su Qian's words. Slowly lifting his hood, he revealed a dried, gaunt face. Glancing down at Su Qian, he spoke in an emotionless voice. 1 hour. Evacuate everyone from the Black Corner region. Is that enough? This friend. Such jokes are not appropriate, Su Qian said sternly, his face changing color. If he hadn't been unsure of the man's strength, he might have already attacked in anger. If it's not enough, we'll kill them all. Although they're just children, there's no other choice. The black-robed elder spoke indifferently. His words ignited a spark of anger in everyone's eyes. Elder Hanyu, that statue looks like that kid, Xiao Yan. Suddenly, a person next to the black-robed elder pointed at the statue below and spoke. Oh? The Xiao Yan who destroyed our soul hall? The elder named Han Yu's face darkened immediately. Staring coldly at the statue, he let out a sinister laugh. I intended to show some mercy, but it seems we must let rivers of blood flow here. Kill everyone. Leave no one alive. With Han Yu's command, a terrifying killing intent spread across the sky. Hearing the cold and murderous shout from the black-robed men in the sky, Su Qian and the others' faces changed dramatically. Send a signal to Xiao sect, Su Qian ordered in a deep voice. These mysterious but powerful individuals were beyond his comprehension. Beside him, Hu Jia nodded gravely. A signal flare swiftly shot from her fingertips, exploding in the sky. As it burst, the sound of rushing wind echoed from the distance. Soon after, dozens of figures flew over, arriving in the sky above the academy. Elder Su Qian, what's happening? The leader of the newcomers, a middle-aged man, asked coldly, his eyes fixed on the black-robed figures in the sky. They were Xiao sect's permanent guards stationed at Jia Nan Academy, which allowed them to respond quickly to the signal. We have some trouble. Su Qian spoke solemnly, then turned his gaze to the black-robed figures in the sky and cupped his hands, saying, Friends, may I ask who you are? Has our Jia Nan Academy offended you in some way? It's not about any offense. You're just unfortunate enough to be in the wrong place. Hanyu replied with a faint smile, showing no regard for the strong reinforcements that had arrived. Humph, arrogant fools. If you want to make a move against Jia Nan Academy in the Black Corner region, you'll have to ask the Xiao sect first. The middle-aged man from the Xiao sect snorted coldly, and behind him, dozens of his comrades flared their doqi wings, releasing a powerful and imposing aura. 2 people, 10 breaths. Hanyu glanced mockingly at the Xiao sect warriors. With a wave of his sleeve, 2 black-robed figures moved swiftly, appearing within the Xiao sect's formation in an instant. Before the Xiao sect members could react, chains sliced through the air, and with a series of muffled sounds, several Xiao sect warriors were pierced through their chests by the chains. The middle-aged man's face turned deathly pale as he gasped in horror. Dozun powerhouses? To deal with such a trivial place, there's no need for arrogance. You overestimate yourselves, Hanyu said calmly, his fingers interlaced. The students of Jia Nan Academy stared blankly at the scene in the sky. Those Do Huang powerhouses, who they once aspired to become, were utterly powerless against the 2 black-robed figures. Many students turned pale with fear, and panic quickly spread. Elders, follow me. Wu Hao's eyes narrowed as he gazed at the 2 black-robed figures in the sky. Even though he was a 1-star Dozun, he could still feel a sense of oppression from these 2. This time, it seemed Jia Nan Academy was facing a true catastrophe. However, no matter how dire the situation, he would not retreat. With resolve flashing in his eyes, Wu Hao let out a fierce shout, rising into the air. Grasping his heavy sword, which automatically flew into his hand, a fierce battlefield aura erupted from him. Following his shout, many elders also took to the sky, their gazes wary as they watched the black shadows above. Attack! Hanyu sneered, waving his hand again. 5 black-robed figures stepped forward, each exuding the terrifying aura of a 5-star Dozun. The formidable aura caused Wu Hao and everyone else to feel a heavy weight on their hearts. In the Black Corner region, having even 1 Dozun meant a force could be considered top tier. Yet now, these mysterious black-robed men seemed to be at that level with ease. Kill! Realizing that these enemies were drenched in killing intent, Wu Hao and the others knew they had no choice but to fight. With a roar, Wu Hao's blood-red heavy sword slashed down, a massive blood-red sword light cutting through the sky towards the 5 men. Such petty tricks! One of the 5 men smirked disdainfully. With a casual point, a black beam of light pierced through the air, easily shattering the blood-red sword light. The residual force struck Wu Hao, sending him flying backward, blood spurting from his mouth. Damn it! Seeing Wu Hao defeated in a single blow, Su Qian's heart sank. In a flash, he caught Wu Hao, his powerful dou qi bursting forth, stronger than Wu Hao's. It seemed Su Qian's strength had significantly improved over the years. As Su Qian made his move, two formidable auras erupted from the direction of the inner academy. In a flash of light, two elderly figures appeared, their faces grim as they looked at the black-robed intruders. Elder Bai, Elder Qian. Seeing the two appear, Su Qian felt a slight relief. These two were the strongest in Jia Nan Academy, both having reached the 7-star Do Zun level. Together, they could even contend with an 8-star Do Zun. What's going on? The two elders asked in deep voices as soon as they appeared. Even they felt uneasy about the people in the sky. When had such powerful figures appeared in the Black Corner region, Su Qian smiled bitterly and quickly recounted the earlier events. When Elders Qian and Bai heard that these intruders intended to massacre Jia Nan Academy, even they, with their calm dispositions, couldn't help but become enraged. Two 7-star Do Zuns, barely worth noticing. Han Yu glanced indifferently at the two, then turned to the person beside him and said, "Deal with them. It's tiresome to handle them one by one." "All right." The person beside Han Yu smiled faintly and stepped forward. Instantly, the entire sky seemed to dim, and an aura several times more powerful than that of Elders Qian and Bai surged out like a storm. Under this overwhelming pressure, everyone's faces, including those of Elders Qian and Bai, turned deathly pale. A Dosheng? Elders Qian and Bai stared blankly at the slender figure, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. They had never seen a true Dosheng before, but the undeniable pressure told them clearly that they were no match for this person. Is Jia Nan Academy really facing such a disaster again? Su Qian smiled bitterly. In the face of a Dosheng, no matter how resolute one's spirit, resistance seemed futile. Everyone knew it would be in vain. The entire academy fell silent. Although many didn't understand the extent of the man's power, seeing the expressions on Su Qian and the others' faces made it clear that it was terrifying. A sense of desperate fear spread through the crowd, turning what should have been a joyous occasion into a looming catastrophe. "Senior, what has Jia Nan Academy done to offend you?" Elder Qian's voice was dry as he asked. "Being associated with this person is offense enough," the Dosheng powerhouse said coldly, pointing at Xiao Yan's statue. "Of course, even if that weren't the case, your fate would be the same." He added mockingly, "Enough time has been wasted." Han Yu frowned. "Understood." The Dosheng powerhouse smiled and, with a flick of his finger, sent waves of terrifying force crashing into Elders Qian and Bai. Their dou qi defenses shattered instantly, and they spat out blood as they were knocked back. Seeing that even Elders Qian and Bai couldn't withstand a single blow from this person, everyone felt a chill of despair. "This statue is more and more displeasing to look at," the Dosheng powerhouse said, his eyes growing colder as he looked at the statue. "If not for this person, the Soul Hall wouldn't be in such a predicament." Humph! With killing intent surging in his heart, the Dosheng powerhouse formed a giant energy hand several hundred feet large and smashed it towards the statue. Seeing this, everyone's faces were filled with despair. Today, it seemed, Jia Nan Academy was truly facing its demise. Under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers, the massive hand struck heavily upon the statue. "Wu Hao, Xiao Yu, in a moment, Elder Qian, Elder Bai, and I will fight to the death to hold them off. You must try to lead the students to safety," Su Qian said, his face pale as he took a deep breath. "We live or die together," Wu Hao said, gripping his heavy sword tightly. Xiao Yu also bit her lip, her beautiful eyes fixed on the statue being struck by the giant hand. Suddenly, she exclaimed, "The statue didn't fall?" At her words, everyone's gaze shifted. Indeed, as the dust settled, they saw the giant statue still standing unharmed in the plaza. This scene left everyone stunned. The power of the previous strike should have easily destroyed a statue, or even a mountain, but what's going on? The Dosheng powerhouse was equally bewildered. "Hunchi, retreat." Han Yu also hesitated for a moment, but his face quickly turned pale as he shouted, "A mere half-saint dares to destroy my statue?" Just as his voice fell, A calm voice emanated from the top of the statue. As the dust dispersed, a lean, black-clad figure appeared under the eyes of everyone. The black figure stood with one hand behind his back, the other extended towards the Soul Clan Dosheng. With a gentle grasp, the Dosheng, who had rendered the entire Jia Nan Academy powerless, exploded into a mist of blood without even a scream. This sight left everyone frozen in shock. Their eyes were fixed on the black figure standing atop the statue. A Dosheng, killed just like that? Xiao Yan? In the midst of the stunned silence, Han Yu's terrified scream echoed across the sky as he retreated rapidly. Hearing the not unfamiliar name, the people in the academy felt as if struck by lightning. Xiao Yan? The legendary student who had left a brilliant mark in Jia Nan Academy's history? The world fell silent. Eyes filled with various emotions stared at the black figure standing on the statue. The wind blew gently, causing his black robe to flutter and his black hair to cascade down. Though it was just an ordinary silhouette, under the gaze of such people, it felt as vast and steady as a mountain. Xiao Yan. Su Qian and the others were equally shocked, their gazes fixed on the black-clad figure. Moments later, their previously despairing hearts filled with excitement. Could it be that today, they were saved? It really is him. Xiao Yu covered her red lips with her jade hand. Although it had been more than 10 years since she had seen him, the familiar figure was still recognizable, though more composed than before. Senior sister, is that the legendary senior Xiao Yan? He's so strong. That guy who defeated Elders Qian and Bai was killed by him with a single move. In the sea of people, after a moment of silence, whispers began to spread. All eyes were on the black-clad figure, shining with admiration. For many students of Jia Nan Academy, the most intriguing subject had always been the various legends about this senior. After all, no one else in the Academy's history had ever warranted a statue. Retreat. In the sky, Han Yu, his face full of fear, shouted without hesitation. Although he had never fought Xiao Yan directly, knowing that even someone as powerful as Han Miesheng had fallen to Xiao Yan, how could he have the courage to fight? He didn't believe his own strength surpassed that of Han Miesheng. At Han Yu's command, the dozens of Soul Hall powerhouses in the sky quickly retreated. Watching the scene in the sky, many were momentarily stunned. Then, many students, filled with excitement, looked fervently at the black-clad figure. This was a true powerhouse. There was no need for action. Just his presence was enough to intimidate all. This charisma made the young boys and girls tremble with excitement. Since you're here, why leave in such a hurry? I destroyed the Soul Hall. What's the point of sparing you remnants? The black-clad youth atop the statue smiled slightly, then gently lifted his foot and began to descend. As Xiao Yan's foot landed, an invisible and terrifying wave of energy rapidly spread out like lightning, catching up with the fleeing figures. In the next moment, the shadows in the sky suddenly exploded into clouds of blood mist. Regardless of whether they were Dozong or Dozun, they all burst into blood mist without any warning. Even their souls were shattered in an instant. Everyone stared dumbfounded at the spreading blood mist in the sky. This scene was both eerie and magnificent. To many students, it seemed as if the Soul Hall powerhouses had simply exploded on their own, while the figure atop the statue hadn't even moved. This power. Su Qian exchanged a look with Elder Qian and Elder Bai, their eyes filled with horror. Killing Dozuns as easily as killing chickens. How terrifying must this strength be? Xiao Yan, you can't protect them. When my Soul Clan army arrives, you will all be doomed. Han Yu was the only one who managed to escape, though he did so after spitting a mouthful of blood. Looking back at his subordinates who had all died instantly, his eyes turned red with hatred as he shouted venomously. Shut up. Xiao Yan frowned, his hand clenched in the air. Above Han Yu's head, flames surged, and a giant pink flaming hand descended from the sky, smashing into him. The immense force sent him flying like a broken-winged bird, trailing black smoke as he plummeted into the distance. As Han Yu turned into black smoke and fell towards the horizon, a sudden flicker of light appeared in that direction, and several figures rapidly approached. More reinforcements? Seeing the lights, Su Qian and the others were startled. The figures quickly appeared in the sky above the academy, revealing themselves. As they did, a terrifying aura spread silently. Do Sheng? Feeling this terrifying aura that made their scalps tingle, Su Qian and Elders Qian and Bai were stunned. Were all these new arrivals Do Sheng powerhouses? While they were in shock, a black figure was thrown down from the sky, crashing heavily onto a stage below. Looking at the figure, everyone saw it was Hunyu, now devoid of any life. Staring blankly at the lifeless Hunyu, many people swallowed hard. Judging by his ability to command the previous Do Sheng, his strength was evidently greater, yet even he died so swiftly. Ha ha, Su Qian, it seems you're well suited to manage the academy. As Su Qian and the others couldn't help but wipe their cold sweat, a laughing voice suddenly echoed from the sky. An elderly figure slowly descended, appearing in everyone's view. Dean? Seeing the smiling elder stepping through the air, Su Qian and the others were stunned, then cried out in shock. Heh. The newcomer was, of course, Meng Tianqi, the dean of Jia Nan Academy. He smiled at Su Qian and the others, then glanced around the academy, nodding in satisfaction. The scale of the academy now far surpassed what it was when he left. Let's talk down there. Meng Tianqi didn't consider himself an outsider despite being missing for decades. He waved his hand and then looked up at the sky, smiling. Xiao Yan, we're all old acquaintances here. Are you really going to keep hiding? Hearing this, Xiao Yan shook his head with a sigh. Accompanied by Suner and a few Do Sheng experts from the alliance, he landed amidst the curious onlookers. With a smile, he cupped his fists towards Su Qian and said, Grand Elder, it's been many years. I hope you've been well. Su Qian, unable to suppress his smile upon seeing the now mature face of Xiao Yan, replied, You rascal, you disappeared for so many years without a word. I thought something might have happened to you. Grand Elder. Behind Xiao Yan, Suner also smiled softly, her graceful demeanor catching the eyes of the surrounding students. Such a high-level beauty was rare even in the entire academy. Suner. Seeing Suner, Su Qian nodded with a smile. However, before he could say anything, a graceful figure leapt out from behind him and embraced Suner tightly. You haven't changed at all? Suner was initially startled, but upon recognizing the person, she smiled helplessly. Hee Suner, you are becoming more and more enchanting. But it seems you still haven't escaped that guy's clutches, Hu Jia teased, casting a glance at Xiao Yan. Beside them, Wu Hao sheathed his heavy sword, smiling as he watched the scene. His eyes met Xiao Yan's, and both shared a knowing smile, their friendship from years past still strong. Looks like you enjoy being a mentor? Seeing these familiar faces, Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel a wave of emotion. He smiled and then turned his gaze to a slender figure behind Su Qian, whistling, a rare playful gesture for him. You actually came back. Hearing Xiao Yan's whistle, Xiao Yu blushed slightly and shot him a glance. His current demeanor reminded her of the old days in Wutan City, when he used to tease her to no end. But now, she no longer felt anger at Xiao Yan's playful antics. Instead, there was a hint of expectation. However, she knew well that the current Xiao Yan was no longer the mischievous boy who dared to peek at her bathing. Greetings, sect master. A middle-aged man from the Xiao sect suddenly bowed respectfully, his face filled with excitement. You're from the Xiao sect? Xiao Yan smiled and said, Well done. It's my fault for failing to protect Jia Nan Academy. The middle-aged man was at a loss, for Xiao Yan was a legendary figure in the Xiao sect, someone he never expected to meet in person. It's not your fault. These enemies are beyond the Xiao sect's current capability. Xiao Yan waved his hand. Just as he was about to speak, several figures flashed through the sky and landed beside them, Kai Lin and others. The remnants of the Soul Clan in other areas have also been eradicated, Kai Lin said, a smile appearing on her cold and elegant face. Su Qian and the others were taken aback, noticing that all these people were Do Sheng experts. Such a lineup was enough to shock anyone. After a long pause, they could only smile bitterly and say, What is going on? A bit of trouble. Xiao Yan exchanged a glance with Meng Tianqi, his expression becoming serious. In the meantime, evacuate the students as quickly as possible. Something major is about to happen in the Black Corner region, Meng Tianqi said gravely. To be honest, even he found it hard to believe that the legendary Tuasha ancient emperor's mansion might be in the subterranean magma world. After all, he had ventured deep into the magma world when sealing the fallen heart flame, but never ventured deep enough. Who could have thought that the legendary emperor's mansion would be so close? Seeing the serious expressions of Xiao Yan and Meng Tianqi, Su Qian's face changed slightly. He hesitated before saying, "With so many students, where can we evacuate them to quickly? We don't have enough people to ensure their safety." Meng Tianqi frowned. "The students' evacuation isn't that troublesome. We can temporarily hide them in the heavenly tomb," Xiao Yan said, waving his hand with a smile. "As for the specifics, let's discuss them inside." "All right." Hearing Xiao Yan's suggestion, Su Qian could only nod. After instructing some elders to reassure the students, he turned and led the way to the academy's conference hall. Xiao Yan and the others quickly followed, leaving behind a crowd of excited onlookers.